Chapter 19, The Brotherhood Charade. Getting her to agree to go to Phi Delta Gamma charity gala had been a strategic maneuver. It was a casual invitation, delivered with just the right amount of offhand charm, masking the obsessive desire that fueled it. The end of Rush charity gala was the perfect setting for seduction. But the victory felt hollow. I should be ecstatic. I'd gotten what I wanted, Daphne by my side. I'd be able to show her off. Instead, a strange emptiness gnawed at me. Was this any different from all the easy conquests, the predictable hookups, the games I usually played with such effortless skill? The thought of my history of nameless, faceless girls and fleeting moments of physical gratification filled me with a surprising sense of disgust. It was Daphne I craved now. Only Daphne. But would I still crave her after I had her, or did I just want her because she kept running away? Unfortunately, I had more immediate things to deal with though. Fall semester was about to begin, and it was rush. 2 weeks of forced smiles, manufactured enthusiasm, and the constant gnawing pressure to project the perfect image of Phi Delta Gamma. Brotherhood. Leadership. Success. The Holy Trinity we were selling to a fresh crop of wide-eyed, hopeful freshmen, eager to buy into the dream. And I, Apollo Polo Reyes chapter president, was the goddamn poster boy. Saturday, move-in day. I stood on the porch of our mansion, a relic of a bygone era, a symbol of privilege and exclusivity, shaking hands, slapping backs, delivering the well-rehearsed words. My smile was genuine enough, I thought. I represented the epitome of lifelong friendships, academic support, networking opportunities, and of course, legendary parties. A carefully crafted persona, polished and presented for the eager eyes of incoming freshmen. But beneath the surface, I was a churning disaster of conflicting emotions, a tempest trapped within a meticulously tailored suit. The image of Daphne, her face pale but defiant after Zeph's outburst at the barbecue, was seared into my mind, a brand that refused to fade. The memory of our physical connection, the feel of her body against mine, the taste of her. It was a constant throbbing distraction. I ached with a longing I couldn't ignore. It was a raw, visceral experience that clashed violently with the polished image I was projecting. I scanned the crowd of students, potential brothers, the hopeful faces ripe for molding into the Phi Delta Gamma ideal. I spotted a few guys who had already received bids and would be pledging soon, their eyes gleaming with anticipation, their futures seemingly mapped out before them. As I surveyed the scene, my gaze seemed to be searching for a glimpse of dark curls, a flash of that blue sundress. Stupid, I chid myself, the word a bitter taste on my tongue. She wouldn't be here. Why would she be? This was my world, not hers. And yet I couldn't help but look, my eyes betraying the carefully constructed facade, seeking a beacon in the sea of expectant faces. Leander, bless his enormous, uncomplicated heart, clapped me on the shoulder, his grip firm and reassuring. "You're killing it, Polo. They're eating this shit up." His words were a bomb, a reminder of the role I was playing, the performance I was delivering. I forced a grin, a practiced movement of my lips, just doing my job, Leander. The words echoed in my ears, a hollow mantra. My job. That's what it felt like increasingly. A performance. A charade. I was selling a dream, a carefully constructed image of brotherhood and belonging, a promise of a future built on shared privilege and unwavering loyalty. But was it real, or was it just a gilded cage, like the one my father had built for me? A beautiful prison designed to confine and control. The question hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. The doubts, once a faint whisper, were growing louder, fueled by Daphne, by her fierce independence, by her refusal to be impressed by the superficial trappings of wealth and status. She was a crack in the carefully plastered walls of my world, a reminder that there was something more, something genuine, something beyond the carefully curated image I was presenting. Her presence, even in her absence, was a constant challenge, forcing me to confront the hollowness of the life I was leading. Sunday house tours. Phi Delta Gamma's hallowed halls, steeped in the scent of aged wood and unspoken expectations, became a stage for my rehearsed performance. I led never-ending processions of prospective pledges, pointing out the portraits of alumni, their expressions a mixture of pride and condescension, the antique furniture, each piece whispering tales of inherited fortune, the gleaming gym, a monument to physical perfection, and the sprawling entertainment rooms where distractions reigned supreme. The tour culminated in the basement's transformed boiler room, now a shimmering indoor pool, a blatant display of our financial might. I delivered the well-worn script about our history, a carefully crafted myth of brotherhood and success, but the words felt hollow. The traditions, once a source of pride, now seemed like meaningless rituals, and excellence a euphemism for rigid conformity. With each step, the dissonance between the image I projected and the doubts that gnawed at me grew sharper. I found myself distracted, my gaze constantly drifting towards the windows, towards the vibrant life of the outside world, a world that suddenly felt infinitely more appealing than the cloistered atmosphere of the mansion. I imagined her in her studio, a chaotic haven of creativity, surrounded by her art, her passion, her glorious mess. A mess that was infinitely more appealing, more real, than this polished, sterile perfection, this carefully constructed facade of order and tradition. I pictured the vibrant colors of her paintings, the raw energy of her sculptures, the way her brow furrowed in concentration, a stark contrast to the bland, expectant faces of the pledges. Finn, our senior pledge master, was in his element, a predator in his natural habitat. He shadowed me during the tours, his presence a constant, irritating reminder of the role I was expected to play. He interjected with charm and a hint of arrogance that rubbed me the wrong way, his words dripping with the entitlement that had begun to feel like a suffocating blanket. He'd make pointed comments about the exclusive nature of our fraternity, emphasizing the barriers to entry, the unspoken promise of power and influence. He'd boast about the connections we could provide, the carefully cultivated network of alumni that stretched across the corridors of power, the opportunities that awaited those who were deemed worthy, those who fit the mold. His words painted a picture of a life built on privilege and exclusion, a life that suddenly felt like a gilded cage, not a pathway to success. His voice was a constant, grating reminder of what I was selling, and the growing sense of unease that settled in my stomach with each passing tour. Monday, Meet the Greeks barbecue. A carefully orchestrated event, a pageant of forced camaraderie, put on by all the fraternities and sororities. It was designed to showcase our carefully curated individuality and our manufactured fun side, a desperate attempt to lure in the next generation of pledges. Greek Row was transformed into a carnival of picnic tables, sputtering grilling stations, and a sea of hopeful faces, all eager to meet, mingle, and most importantly, impress the gatekeepers of this exclusive world. The absence of Zeph's swaggering presence was palpable, a void that hung heavy in the air. His expulsion, a necessary but brutal act, had sent ripples through the fraternity, exposing the cracks in our carefully constructed facade. I watched, a silent observer, as the other brothers tried to fill the void, their forced enthusiasm a poor substitute for Zeph's toxic charisma. The crowd blurred. Where did we stand? Then our eyes met. It was brief, a fleeting connection, but in that instant, a torrent of emotions flashed across her face. Wariness, yes, but also a flicker of what? Acknowledgement, understanding, a fragile hope bloomed in my chest. It was a spark, a fragile ember in the ashes of our fractured connection, and it was enough to ignite a fierce resolve within me. I had to talk to her, to explain, to bridge the chasm that now separated us. I had to try. But not here. Not now. The Meet the Greeks barbecue was a stage, a performance, and any attempt at genuine connection would be swallowed by the noise and the pretense. I needed a private moment, a space where we could be real, where we could strip away the layers of expectation and obligation. I watched her for a moment longer, memorizing the curve of her jaw, the way the sunlight caught the dark strands of her hair. Then, with a deep breath, I turned away, forcing myself to re-engage with the charade. Tuesday, athletic events. A chance for the potential pledges to showcase their physical prowess, their competitive spirit, their willingness to conform to the macho ideal. We played golf, a display of practiced precision, basketball, a clash of egos on the court, even a ridiculously competitive game of volleyball, a staged spectacle of forced enthusiasm. I participated, going through the motions a puppet on strings, trying to project an image of enthusiasm, of engagement, while my mind was a whirlwind of conflicting thoughts. But my mind was elsewhere, trapped in a loop of memories. I kept replaying the scene with Zeph, the look on Daphne's face, a mixture of disdain and something else, something I couldn't quite name. The way she'd pulled away from me at the party, the unspoken rejection that hung in the air like a suffocating fog. I found myself looking for excuses to escape, to slip away from the orchestrated chaos, to find her, to seek the truth. But the schedule was relentless, the pressure to perform, to recruit, to maintain the Phi Delta image was constant, a suffocating weight that pressed down on me. And then there was the other problem, the insidious doubt that gnawed at my conscience. The growing unease, the creeping doubts about my own role in this whole charade. Was I really any better than Zeph? Was I just using my charm, my status, my power to get what I wanted? Was I manipulating Daphne, just in a more subtle, more sophisticated way, weaving a web of charm and privilege? The thought was a cold splash of water in my face, a brutal awakening. It made me question everything. My motives. My desires. My entire goddamn life. A life built on a foundation of inherited privilege and carefully constructed lies. But could I change? Could I be the man she deserved, the man I wanted to be? And even if I could, would she ever truly trust me? Would she ever truly love me? The questions hung in the air unanswered, a heavy weight on my chest, a burden I knew I had to carry.